Alrighty, QR. So here's our first lesson in our online class. So I'm just going to talk about these two types of accounts, what makes money work for you. And basically what we're talking about is the introduction to investing with money. Okay, so first one we're looking at is a savings account. Okay, and typical savings account are low interest, and you can withdraw your money and put money in at any time. Okay, CDs kind of work differently. So, well, let's look at these particular ones first. So, savings account, and this particular one, this interest is compounded. Right here, that's the keyword. All right, and basically what that means is that every cycle, the interest is added onto itself. So it keeps building on itself, building on itself, and building on itself. Let's do a better arrow than that. Okay, so every cycle, interest is applied. Okay, your CD typically makes more money. It has a higher interest rate, as you can see, 4%. But they work a little different. You can't really withdraw your money without some kind of fine or penalty, so you lose money. So if you're planning to, if you have some money laying around and you don't need it, you want to put that in a CD and it will make more money. The thing is you can't withdraw it, okay, not without a penalty. There's like a grace period every year where you can decide to withdraw it or not without a penalty. Some CDs can be guaranteed for 5 years or 2 years or yearly, annually is what we say. So it just depends. So in this particular CD here, this one is more percent, but this one's calculated using simple interest. Yeah, so this one is simple interest. All right, and basically that means the interest is applied to your principal. And the principal basically means original amount. All right. So, like I said, I'm going to work this chart for you. I'm going to show you the two different functions, and you're basically going to be tasked to answer these questions here. You can use a Google Doc, or you can print this form out and take a picture and submit it that way. Just put the number, give it the title, which is the title here, What Makes Money Work for You. Type this in the Google Doc, and then turn that into Classroom as what your assignments. And again, this will be due at midnight on Sunday. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at our CD and our savings account. We're going to graph them for over 5 years, okay, and see how the interest is applied. So let's look at the CD account on the simple interest and see what's going on here. So with the CD, keep in mind that this one is simple interest. All right, we're going to start with $500. All right, so when we invest it, the CD is charged at 4%, right? So basically, how do we get this interest? We're going to take our $500, we're going to multiply it by 4%, okay, which is 0.04. Okay, so convert it to a decimal. All right, so 500 times 0.04, that's going to get us $20. All right, that's what we made after the first year, just having $500 laying around. We made $20 off of it doing nothing. So if you can kind of see just in this one calculation, if you have a lot of money and you go and invest it, the money just sits there. And then you build this nest egg that just keeps growing and growing and growing. So people that have money and have wealth, this is how their money is maintained and make them richer over time. So when you're struggling paycheck to paycheck, it's very hard to do this. And then you fall into a debt trap, which we talk about debt later. All right, but we're going to look at the beginnings of how these percents can help us, and then we'll look at how they also can hurt us. All right, so we made $20. So at the end of the first year, we have $520 in our bank account. I'll just knock out the cents for now. All right. So on year 2, okay, what do we start with? We start off with $520. All right. Then we're going to apply the 4% again. All right, renew the bond. All right, and I already goofed here because it's simple interest. So take that off. It's going to be 500 times 0.04 again. So when we do simple interest, like I said earlier, that 4% is multiplied to the original amount. All right, so again, it's going to be another $20. As a matter of fact, the rest of this all is going to be $20 because it's always applied to the original 500. All right, so then we add it to what we already have in our account, which is the 520. So the 520 plus 20 is 540. Okay, so at the beginning of the third year, we have $540. Add the 20 there, we get 560, and then you can kind of see the pattern. Beginning of the fourth year, $560, add 20, you get $580. Okay, and it incurs that way. Okay, $580 plus 20, we get $600. Okay, so not bad. Again, $100 after 6 years of not needing that $500. All right, so that simple interest, what makes it simple again is it's applied to the original amount that we opened the account with the 500. Okay, so if we go on to the savings account per year, all right, it's compounded interest. All right, and this compound interest, is at 3.75%. So it's a smaller interest rate. We're going to see how the numbers work when you compound it. Okay, and compound means it's built off. So like what I did with my mistake in year 2, when I multiplied 520 by 0.04, that's not simple interest. That would be me compounding it. So as it makes money, it's going to make even more money off of that. So we'll see how this compound interest works. So we'll take our initial 500, right? So we have 500 times 0.375%, right? So 0.0375. Okay, move that decimal place to the left twice. All right, and when I do this, a little bit of calculator power, this is going to earn me $18.75. Okay, and then of course we're going to add that $18.75 to our 500. So at the end of the year, I got $518.75. Okay, it's not making as much money as my simple interest as we see in year 1. All right, so beginning of year 2, we got $518.75. Okay, we're going to take that number, multiply it by our interest, 3.75. Okay, so this is not to the principal. We are going to do it from the previous year. Okay, this will also be compounded annually, so there's different compounds. Most of the things are monthly, but this one here is annually. Okay, so we take that 0.0375, multiply it to the 518. We're going to get $19.45. Okay, still didn't make $20 like the other one there. We're going to add that $19.45 to the 518, and we're going to get $538.20. All right, so that means at the beginning of year 3, we get $538.20. Multiply it by the 0.375. And then we get, excuse me, we're going to get $20.18. So now we're making more than we did in interest, in the simple interest. So 18 cents more here. So you see how that compound keeps compounding on each other. So even though it's a lower interest rate, you can see it creeping up on that simple interest rate. So we add that to the 538, and we're going to get 558.38. All right, so we'll take that 558.38 beginning of year 4. So we're still not there because at the beginning of year 4 we're at $560. So we're about $1 something behind. So let's multiply the interest rate again. to the 558. And this one we're going to earn $20.93 in interest. Add that $20.93 to our 558. And we're going to get 579.31. So beginning year 579.31. We're still not beating our simple interest at 580. All right, let's see what happens. Excuse my voice. Times the interest here, 0.0375. Here we're going to make $21.72. All right, add that to the 579, and we're going to make $601.03. So you can see after 5 years, I made more money with a lower interest rate by compound interest rather than simple interest. Okay, and truthfully, I don't know how many things out there are still computed with simple interest. Most things are compound. So you do want to think about that when you are investing. All right, so the compound interest will win out, okay? And there's very reason why. So here, your simple interest, you have a constant rate of interest earned, which is just $20. So that constant rate is your slope. And what you end up having, if you kind of make an XY grid, you end up having, say this is 500, you have this line, okay? And it's linear. Okay, it just keeps growing by $20 every year. Okay, on this one, the compound interest, do XY chart. Okay, so this is 500. Right, it ends up growing up like this at a curve, and this is an exponential curve. Okay, so it may grow slowly at first, but then it skyrockets and goes up in price, and that's what we can see here. So if we wait after 10 years, we're going to make a lot more money than we would on the simple interest one. And that's compound interest. So there is a quote by Albert Einstein that says, what's the most powerful force in the universe? And he says compound interest. And this is what he's talking about, this exponential function where things just skyrocket over time. All right, rather than that constant linear rate. Okay, so so when you have investments that are at like 12% interest and they average about that, you can make quite a bit of money. And if you have it, it keeps on growing. All right, so basically you're going to answer the rest of these questions like I said earlier. I'll put a description when I post this. But number two, I do want to talk about this one real quick. If Amanda's using an investment as an emergency fund, which should she invest? Explain your reasoning. Well, that would be the savings account. Okay, and the reason the savings account is not because it did make more money. And actually, this chart's kind of weird too, because your CDs usually most of the time make more money than the savings account because you can't just withdraw it. So that money's in there, you get more interest rate, it's compounded. You can the banks know that it's there, they can invest in it and make money. However, the savings account, there might be a lot of money there at first, but then at any point it could be gone. So it's high risk for the bank to invest in and make money off of it. So, but the savings account would be for the reason of you can pull it out or withdraw without penalty. All right, so that's why it'd be the savings account. You can't save more money, but in the real world, your savings accounts won't earn this much interest. So a lot of the savings accounts I see out there are like at 0.2% interest. That's 0.2%. So move that decimal another two over, that's 0.002. That's a thousandth of a percent that it's making. So it hardly makes any money at all. Any money at all. So a lot of times when I see my savings account statement at the end of the month, like I made like 4 cents or something like that. It's ridiculous. So 3, based on the process. Okay, so basically talking about what the function rule is. So we kind of talked about it. So I'm going to talk about number 3. So we have our CD, right? Let's look at the CD. Okay, which stands for certificate of deposit. All right, so we had an initial amount of $500, right? Then it's going to grow by $20 every year, X being the year. Okay, so it's a linear equation. So a lot of times we'll see the slope first. So 20 is your slope times X. Okay, and then the 500 is the money you start with. That'd be your Y-intercept. All right, so when you're graphing this, which you're going to compare later, you'll see that there, and you're going to kind of sketch it out. As far as our savings, yes, I'm going to have all my spelling problems here. So sorry, not sorry. All right, so savings. So let's say, okay, we started with 500, right? Then we added 500 times. I don't want to use an X here. Let's put a dot. I don't want to use a dot either. Let's use a parentheses. 500 times 0.0375. And then all of this here is to the x power, which is actually another bracket here. Now, what I'm noticing here is that we have a 500 here and a 500 here. And I know we're not very good at GCF because most students aren't, even at the higher level mathematics, like calculus students still struggle with GCF. That 500 can be factored out of here. So if I factor out that 500, I have y equals 500, right? So 500 divided by 500 is 1, and then 500 times whatever this number is going to be plus 0.0375. Keep putting 75, and then to the x power. Now, 1 plus 0.0375, that's just a decimal. It's kind of like a mixed number. It's being added to it. So I can actually condense this a little more. And then we're going to get 1.0375. And if you don't believe me, add 1 plus 0.0375. The calculator's going to give you 1.0375. All right, and that's to the x power. So this x in the exponent makes it exponential. All right, and that's what number 4 is asking. So here our CD is linear, and here our savings is exponential. Okay, so the rest of these you're going to answer on your own, on like what Amanda should do. As far as the rest of these questions here. All right, so you're going to compare or graph the two different functions and just write it here. So what you can do is, if you saw the links in my announcements, you can download the TI software with that link I put in there. And you can put that on Mac PC. It'll work on iPad. There isn't one for an Android pad if you have that. So not that Android couldn't do it, it's just the workings between TI and Apple, so they're not releasing it for Android. But you can put it on PC if you have one. Then you'll have basically your calculator you've been using in class the whole time. If not, you can use Desmos, and I'll show you Desmos here a little bit. So if you download the Desmos app, it looks like this. It's green, it says Desmos there. And you basically this green. So I'm sure a lot of y'all may have used this in other courses. A little bit in those that had me in Algebra 2 last year. Okay, so we got these blocks here on the left. And basically you just put your functions in. So I'll put my linear function here, which was 500, but plus 20, and then your x is over here on the left. All right, and you can see the green line was graphed over here. All right, and then in box 2, I'm gonna put my exponential one, which was 500, and then parentheses for times. And then we have 1.0375. Close the parentheses. All right, now to get the exponential, this a to the b button right here, you press that, and it takes your cursor up in the power, and that's where I'm gonna put my x there. And then you can see the blue line that's being graphed. Okay, and then just to zoom in on the graph, so if you like kind of find 500, zoom out a little bit, just pinch it in, pinch it out. You see 500, and that's where both graphs intersect, and that's also our y-intercept, and that's the y-axis there, because we initially invested $500, and as we spread it out or pinch it in, we can see there. So we can see 5 here. So that's the 5 years. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and you can kind of graph it. So it's very slow. It's very narrow graph because like it beat it by $1. So it's easier to see in the table, but in this one not so much. But if you kind of scroll up and zoom out, you can see that your exponential is making quite a bit more money than your linear. So we'll still have $500. We got to get to that $600 point. Scroll up more. So there, as you see, the green line is on top, which means it's making more money. That's the linear one. So as I go up here, you start seeing the blue line take over, and then you see it even having a wider and wider gap because it's taking less years to make more money. You see that gap widen even more and more away from that green line. And this is where the exponential starts to skyrocket. Okay, and that's even with less interest rate. All right, guys, so that's the lesson for today. Again, do Sunday, and then use a Google Doc to answer the questions, or print out and write it out. Or heck, even if you have scratch paper, you can write out the stuff there, the answers there. Just number it, give it a title, put your name, take a picture, upload it. All right, guys.